Hello, good afternoon. So hope I'm audible. We shall start today's session. So we shall look into the first topic, that is, I have titled it at 7th schedule. Though the article says this was given on Hindu. Should education be brought back to the state list? And you know why we are discussing this topic? Because regarding the NEET exam, the recent controversies that has happened regarding cancellation of the UGC NET NET exam and the NEET, wherein it has been postponed, right? Because of the marks and maybe even the what do you call as irregularities in marks also, right? Marks and the rank list and all that. So we have heard enough of this narrative. So on that ground, this article has been explaining to us, or maybe a kind of a debate or a critical analysis. So should there be any revamping of education system in India? That is one thing. And what was the status of education, and what was the entire history of education as a subject or education as an area in India? That's what we are going to see today in this article. Okay. The title says that when was the subject added to the concurrent list? That means education as a subject was added to concurrent list. We know that this schedule speaks about we have a union list, state list, and concurrent list, and education has been added to concurrent list, and it was actually under state list before. Now the question again is, should it be added to state list? If yes, why? If no, why? That is the idea here. I don't know whether you have come across this article. Let's look into the basic takeaways from this article. Okay, I mean, what are the key points we have in this? So recent controversies surrounding exams such as NEET, UG and UGC NET have reignited the debate on whether education should be returned to the state list. That means it was under state list. Okay. So the Government of India Act 1935 established a federal structure. Just a minute. Okay. Established a federal structure and placed education under the provincial list. By then we have various lists, right? Provincial list was the provincial list here. There refers to 1935 Act refers to state. By then they were called as provinces, right? So that is the genesis or the origin of education being added one of the subjects under governance. So this is what the earliest idea where we have regarding education. Then post-independence, education continued to be a state subject. What was provincial before, provincial anta enagittu, adu state list agine continue aitu. Independence aada nanತರ ಯಾವಾಗ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ದ ಸ್ವರಣ್ ಸಿಂಗ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ. You will have to remember all these committee names. Okay, Swaran Singh committee during emergency recommended moving education to concurrent list, which was implemented through 42nd Constitutional Amendment in 1976. I'm sure that you have heard about 42nd Constitutional Amendment of 1976 and what all changes happened in the under 42nd Amendment Act. And if I may ask you, iga ee point alli enide anta andre education na ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದ ಕನ್ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ಅಥವಾ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂತ ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ನ ಕನ್ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು? Can you answer this question? Which are the subjects which were in state list were added to concurrent under 42nd Amendment Act, where education is one among them? Can anyone tell me? Forest, good. Forest. Then just checking your chats. Okay, forest. Then forest, you remember, that is true, correct. Forestry, education, then wildlife also. Okay, wildlife and bird protection, wildlife and bird, wild animals and birds. Then administration of justice related, and weights and measures anta ನೀವು initial first, second, third chapters alle ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತೀರಾ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀಕಾಂತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಓದಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ weights and measurements good. You have to remember all these are the basic rudimentary facts. I repeat again, I don't know, my pen is not working, so I'll just repeat. Forestry, education, justice, weights and measurements, wildlife and birds, or wildlife, or wild animals and birds, we can consider like that. So 5 were shifted, but today we are looking into what do you call exclusively on what happened to education, what was the need to change it, and what are the various repercussions after that. We will see that. Why we are discussing, we know that because today there is a question: is it because it was centralized we are going through all these controversies, we are able to witness these controversies? Would it have been better if it was under state list? Another on the prashna ivaga. Okay, then the 44th constitutional amendment aimed to partially reverse these changes. Now ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ 42nd amendment constitutional amendment ಗೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವೋ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ 44th constitutional amendment equally important ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾತಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ? ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 44th constitutional amendment which was brought later actually aimed at what? Again, to reverse or to revamp or to change what was there under 42nd. So these two amendments are very, very important, and there are various questions have been asked in the past years. So keep that in mind. Adradu highlights ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ. 42nd amendment ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು, okay, 44th ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು. For example, 42nd constitutional amendment ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ we can also speak about fundamental duties, alva. But let's stick on to the one particular subject, education itself. But I'm just telling you what are the various changes that have happened under these two amendments. That's what you have to keep in mind. So istu high andre namge highlights iga article ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. We will see what was the evolution of education, how it changed, and what are the other constitutional provisions we have and all that. Okay. So ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. Initially, Article 45 of the DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, aimed to provide free and compulsory education anta kottidare. Free and compulsory education for children up to 14 years, and was later amended to include early childhood care. So DPSP, we already know that Directive Principles of State Policy is a provision in the Constitution which is non-justiciable in nature. Fundamental duties and DPSP are non-justiciable in nature. But we have a provision under DPSP anyway. We know that it is about the welfare of the state. And DPSP agilli, fundamental duties agilli, it is aimed to maintain the welfare of the state. So we already had under DPSP. When it gained more momentum, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, this objective was eventually made a fundamental right under Article 21A. Insertion of Article 21A by amending the Constitution through 86th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2002. Very, very important amendment after 42nd and 44th. It has been asked in UPSC as a direct question, KPSC, any other government, central government exams also. Okay. Which constitutional amendment made education as a fundamental right under Article 21A. So fundamental rights, part 3 kelige bantide constitutional amendment. We are speaking about the evolution of education as a subject. Okay. So this we have already discussed. During the emergency, Swaran Singh committee recommended moving education. Who recommended it? It is under the committee. It was recommended and it was moved to concurrent. And the 44th constitutional amendment aimed to partially reverse these changes. I think these 2 points are repeated. So, ಇಲ್ಲಿ key takeaways ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆರಡು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಈ ತರ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಈಗ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ Article 21A ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಇನ್ನೂನು ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಕನ್ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗೆನೆ ಇದೆ. And we know that when any subject is under concurrent list, state governments and the central government has an equal say, right? Equal opinion or equal authority to speak about it and make some changes, necessary changes about it. But when there is a conflict of interest, when there is conflict or difference of opinion, we again know that central government opinion prevails, or its authority prevails. So finally, ultimately, central government then. So over the years, we saw that NTA, National Testing Agency, took over all the major exams, whether it is NET, whether it is NEET, right? All these exams, and it was centralized. And when we looked at this in the initial years, some were against it, some actually supported it, because NTA aimed at bringing a uniform system in the entire country. ಸೊ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಿವ್ಯಾಂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಏನ್ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರೆಸ್ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಿನೇವಿಯನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, ಮೇ ಬಿ ನಾರ್ವೆ ಆರ್ ಫಿನ್ಲೆಂಡ್ ಆರ್ Canada or America, right? Japan. So we just compare where do we stand now, as of now. What is our literacy rate? Nam literacy rate ಎಷ್ಟು ಈಗ, India's literacy rate? Any idea about it? Anybody? 74%, which is lower than the global average or global literacy rate. 81% or 82% is the global literacy rate. So 74 is even below the global literacy rate. That means we have not reached to that level yet. And we are trying to bring various measures under our education system that is there already. So ಈಗ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅದು ರೋಲ್ ಏನು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ರೋಲ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ, state governments can actually speak about, or they can actually mandate something called as introduction of mother tongue or the regional languages in the state education system, because it is under concurrent, right? But ultimately ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಏನೇ ಒಂದು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೂ finally it will be better hold will be under the central government. So ಇದಾಗಿದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹ್ಯಾವೋಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ what do you call as ಕಾಂಟ್ರವರ್ಸಿಸ್ಗೆ ಕಾರಣ ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಅಥವಾ ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ can we still retain the quality of education is the debate. So it is a debatable question. We are not taking side of central government or state government. It is like, what are the benefits and disadvantages, and what are the pros and cons if state government takes over, central government takes over. That is the only idea here. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಪಾಲಿಟಿ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇಂದ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಈ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಂಡರ್ DPSP ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 45, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಂಡರ್ as part 3 as a fundamental right under article 21A. This is the origin. And ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ historical background ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ education was under, we have seen, Government of India Act of 1935. ಅಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಪ್ರೊವಿನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದ ಕನ್ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು 42nd Amendment Act. ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು we have revamped to a particular level, but we have not reached to a certain level wherein we can cope up with the other countries like US, Canada, Norway, Finland. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೋಪ್ ಅಪ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಂಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಷ್ಟು ನಮ್ದು ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೆಜರ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಸೋ ಫಾರ್ ಟು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಮ್? Because why I'm telling both the things, when you write your answers, especially mains, you have to mention about the government's initiatives and also some of the loopholes which has to be balanced, alva? So ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ ಇವಾಗ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್, ಇವಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಫ್ರಮ್ past few decades only, you can say any program, any schemes that come to your mind. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, very good. Then midday meal scheme. Then what are the various measures government has taken to improve the quality of education? Right, Right to Education Act 2002. Okay, then any other schemes you can think of? I'm asking you because so that you will have an idea, because it is not only speaking of scholarships, good scholarships. Then there, I think this Right to Education Act of 2002, now it is 2009, right? Which guarantees a minimum level of education across India. Yes, 2009, correct. Then so we have somebody said the She scholarship. Okay, then you might have heard about the PM Shri schools, Pradhan Mantri. Yes, so that can be added. I think you can note down all this. Then you can look into. Then we have Beti Bachao, good. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Correct. All these schemes. So these schemes has to be mentioned when we speak of education system in India. So ಅದನ್ನು ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಲೂಪ್ ಹೋಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ NTA ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪರೆನ್ಸಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯ್ತು, ಅಕೌಂಟಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ NTA. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಲಿಟರಲಿ ನೋ ಸೇ. ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಕನ್ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್, ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಯೂನಿಯನ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್, ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬಂದಿರೋ ತರ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ yes, we are witnessing this, and many students, their aspirations and their future is under risk. So that is what we are seeing today, and we are yet to see what are the measures government will be taking in the coming days, or will any changes would happen for the education system when it comes to what are the initiatives that the state can take and all that. Okay, so ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಈ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸಿಬಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಬ್ರಾಡರ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ವಿ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಮಚ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ವಿ ಗೆಟ್ what do you call as conceptual understanding about a kind of a debate. Beka bedva anta. You should not go with the mindset of the author. You have to take a rational decision wherein what happens if the states take over, what happens if the central takes over. You should be neutral in your opinion. That is what I want you to look into this. Okay, so from the political perspective of the Indian polity, in subject iro prakara UPSC kelige neevu list ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಮತ್ತು education system India, especially as I mentioned 86th constitutional amendment ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ, then any idea about ಯಾವ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಮದರ್ ಟಂಗ್ ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ? ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ವಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ TN conflict about NEET exam? So they have even there are certain case petitions are also going. 313 mother tongue petitions are also going on. We are 343. Okay, 313 and 343, what is it? If you can tell me. ಏನು 313 ಮತ್ತೆ 343 ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆರಡು? Yes. Official language of the union, yes. But in education system ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೈಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಏನಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಮದರ್ ಟಂಗ್. 313 okay. If I'm not wrong, I would ask you to check 350A in ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. 350A. Okay, I want you to look into it. 350A. 350A mother tongue. That's what my question was. You mentioned about the official language ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರಿ. 350A ಏನೇನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮದರ್ ಟಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ರೀಜನಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ನ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಹಕ್ಕು ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು when we speak about the state government's authority under administration of education system. Okay, so these are the articles you have to mention in your answer writing, and factually knowing ಇದರೊಂದು ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಕೇಸಸ್, ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಾಗ ಒಂದು ನರೇಟಿವ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೊಂದು ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. Don't go too much into political aspects. You can have your political ideology, but you should always make a rational decision based on, or think like a bureaucrat. That is what I would like to say. Okay, this is what we have under this first topic. Now let's speak about a history topic which was recently in news, Santal Rebellion. Santal Rebellion or Santal Hull. Okay. And also this article was in Indian Express. And Santal Rebellion one kade ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು Land Tenancy Act of Tribal Lands ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಈ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಮಾತಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ June 30th marks the 169th anniversary of Santal Rebellion, one of the earliest peasant uprising ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಅಥವಾ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ರೆಬಿಲಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು. So when we even start listing out the tribal uprising, we'll first name Santal Rebellion, one of the earliest, 1855. So almost by 1820s, 1830s indane we see that peasants agirbodu, tribal revolts agirbodu, based on their own reasons, they started revolting against British. But when it comes to Santal Rebellion, British matra avrdu adversaries agirilla, British matra avrdu enemy agirilla. There was a class of society wherein these people were against. We'll look into it, some detail about it, not obviously you will be learning in your basic classes. Adre news alli irodrinda namige ಎಷ್ಟು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಈ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇಂದ. ಓಕೆ. So Santal Hull of 1855, recently commemorated on June 30th, 2024, marks a significant peasant revolt against British colonial oppression in India. So this uprising catalyzed the enactment of two pivotal legislations, the Santal Pargana Tenancy Act of 1876 and Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act of 1908. When we speak of Santal Rebellion, Santalis, we are talking about the eastern part of India, like Jharkhand, West Bengal, this region. Or the Chota Nagpur Plateau is what we are talking about. Okay. So these acts were instrumental in safeguarding tribal land rights and cultural autonomy, shaping the trajectory of tribal policies in colonial India. ಈ acts ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು? 1876 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಈ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ಎನಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. And the backdrop of this act is 1855 Santal Rebellion. Looking at Santalis rebelling against the government, there were many small uprisings that were happening continuously for various reasons. Correct. So, ಈ Land Tenancy Act ಅನ್ನೋದು tribal land ಬಗ್ಗೆ exclusive ಆಗಿ, even today we look up to it. So, we will see some takeaway from this. What was the origin? Why it happened? Right? So, all these aspects, we will look into it. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ 2000 if I'm not wrong 2018 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂತಾಲ್ ರೆಬಿಲಿಯನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್, 18 ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2018. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಅ ರಿಲೆವೆಂಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ಓವರ್ ಈ ವರ್ಷ 169th anniversary ಪ್ಲಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ವಿ ಮೇ ನೆವರ್ ನೋ, ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಅಪ್ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್. ವಿಲ್ ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಪ್ರೈಸಿಂಗ್, ಯಾತಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಸಂತಾಲೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಅಪ್ರೈಸಿಂಗ್ ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸಸ್. ಸಂತಾಲ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಟು Damin Eco, present day Jharkhand, in 1832 with promises of settlement and agriculture. Damin Eco, another, they have their own word for it, wherein ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ provinces ಇತ್ತು, which makes up the Jharkhand, the present day Jharkhand today. Many names are there, like various provinces. ಈ ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ they were promised for the settlement and agriculture, taking away their own land. They were promised that they will be given a different land altogether. Okay. ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸ್ಡ್ ಸೆಟಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಸಂತಾಲ್ಸ್ ಫೇಸ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಗ್ರಾಬಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೇಗಾರಿ, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಪ್ರೊನೌನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ರೈಟ್, ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಲೇಬರ್, ಜೀತ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಸೆಟಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಾವು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಅದ್ರ ಬದಲು, ಈಗ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾರ್ಖಂಡ್, ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ದಿಸ್ ಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೆನಿ what do you call as industrial activities, slowly they were budding, and people British wanted to access the forest resources in this area for timber, and these were promised to give a different land altogether. But later what happened, instead of giving their promised land, they were made into bonded laborers. So this was a repressive condition which was, they were totally deceived, right, rejected. Then two systems emerged. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ಎರಡು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಜೀತ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕ್ಯಾಮಿಯೋಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅರ್ವಾಹಿ ಅಂತ. ಕಾಮಿಯೋತಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ಲೋನ್ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್. ಅರ್ವಾಹಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫ್ಲೋಯಿಂಗ್, trapping Santals in perpetual debt. You might have seen in documentaries, movies, heard in stories and all that. Until your loan is repaid, you have to work anything and everything in your master's house as a slave, basically. Harvahi anta andre personal services and clothing. So other for what do you call it, for lifetime you're there, you're working in their agricultural land and also working for them. This was happening. Okay. And perpetual debt means sayo tankano, it is like for till their lives end they will be working for them, and there is no relief from the slavery. This was the condition they were under it. So 1832 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದು 1855, right? 1832 1855 they actually bear this brunt of this system, and finally they revolted against the British. Then terms of bonded labor were severe, making it nearly impossible for Santals to repay, leading to widespread discontent and resistance. So bonded labor tumba severe agi, harsh agi avarna treat ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಿಂದ, so ultimately these people had to, or this discontent made them to revolt against the British. Idu reasons for uprising. Promised land were not given, they were made into they were pushed as bonded laborers. So this was the main immediate reason anta helbodu. Okay. And moreover, they had this mindset because, or Santalis knew that, the Santals knew that this is all happening because these outsiders came to our land. Yaridu outsiders andre yaru? Not only British, anyone and everyone who were not part of that particular region, who came and took over the place. Avrige iವರು ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಿದ್ರು? Dikus ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಿದ್ರು. DIKUS, Dikus. Dikus are nothing but outsiders in their own language. So we'll see what are the key points regarding it, who led this and why were they called as Dikus and all that. So this revolt was led by Sidhu Kanho, Chand, Bhairav Murmu and sisters Fulo Jano, began June 30th, which began in June 30th, 1855. Especially in all these names, Sidho Mattu Kanho brothers anta kariತೀವಿ ನಾವು. Sidho Kanho ಅಥವಾ Murmu brothers ಅಂತ ಏನೋ ಕರೀತಿದೆ. So these were the main people. So it was led by Sidho and Kanho. These two men led the entire Santal rebellion. So idu in ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ secondary names, but remember the Sidho and Kanho names. Okay. So they are depicted in various statues. I mean, somewhere in Jharkhand we have it, I guess, with their bow and arrow. We have it. Okay. And targets included whom ಯಾರೆಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು? ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್, ಜಮೀನ್ದಾರ್ಸ್, ದಾರೋಗಾಸ್, ಮನಿ ಲೆಂಡರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಅವರು ದಿಕ್ಕು ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಿದ್ರು. ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ what do you call as British, but also anyone and everybody. Okay. Then aim to defend Santal economic, cultural, religious rights. ಯಾತಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವ್ರು ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬರೀ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೆಟಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, it's also for their cultural and religious rights. Obviously, when tribal land is taken away, their religious rights will also be taken away. They have their various rituals within the forest. They have their various customs. So they could no longer follow it. So that was also a major effect on them, right? Then Murmu brothers led 60,000 Santals in 6-month guerrilla warfare against East India Company. We know what is guerrilla warfare, right? What is guerrilla warfare? Anyone? Ambush attack. Very good. So ee ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ we had this was a very common tactic, especially because one thing is these tribals, all they had was hiding and fighting at the elbow. All they had was this bows and arrows and all the primitive weapons they had, wherein their counterpart had very modernized weapons. So they were using this tactic to fight against the British. But obviously ಎಲ್ಲ ಔಟ್ಕಮ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ರೆಬಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರದ್ದು ಫೈನಲ್ ಔಟ್ಕಮ್ ಏನು? ನೋ ಅಪ್ರೈಸಿಂಗ್ಸ್ were called as if they were victorious. ಎಲ್ಲಾ ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರಶ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್. Everything, maybe some were delayed, some were not immediately done, we can say. Apart from that, all the revolts, all the tribal revolts, peasant revolts has been crushed. So 1855 start ಆಯ್ತು, 1856 ಅಲ್ಲಿ like June it started. 6 months this revolt went on. By January 1856 the revolt was crushed, wherein 15,000 Santal casualties and destruction of 10,000 villages that happened. ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಆದ ನಂತರ after 20 years under the British government only, so they had to take some measures because they couldn't in every other possible way. ಈಗ 1856 ಇಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೆಬಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. So they couldn't, what do you call us, under the administration they also had to tackle this tribal revolts. So they decided to bring in a tenancy act called as Santal Pargana Tenancy Act of 1876. Okay, it is the key highlights ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it prohibits transfer of Adivasi lands to non-Adivasis. So these are the Adivasis. ಅವರ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಈ ಜಮೀನ್ದಾರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವರು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. There is no transfer of land. That has still remained. Okay, their land belongs to them. Whether they are keeping or selling, they do it among themselves, and it is not going to any outsiders because the discontent started from there. Okay, this is the result. At least we could say that this can be appreciated wherein because of the revolt, these were the impacts anta helbodu. Then allows land inheritance only within the community. As I've already told you, no transfer of the land from Adivasi to non-Adivasi, anybody outside their community, and inheritance can happen only within the community, not to anyone else outside the scale. Preserve Santal's right to self-govern their land. So there is no intervention of the government. You keep your land, you keep it with yourself. So we are not intervening because even British had to go through few casualties, some loss because of this revolt. Everywhere they had to deploy soldiers or army or everything. So that was quite cumbersome for this the East India Company. So they did not want to take a chance, and this happened. And meanwhile, various other revolts, tribal revolts, were also parallelly happening in frontier or north frontier or in the various villages or tribal areas from north to south, especially the eastern India and south. ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ, ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಆಗೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So one thing one has to remember is, still now when it comes to tribal revolt, they have asked regarding certain tribal leaders who have started this revolt, or asked regarding the names of the revolt. So in one or the other way, we have what do you call as questions on this area. And when you start your, just before you start your modern India, possibly the precursor, what you learn, all the revolts, what led to this, the entire freedom struggle anta bandaga ee area tumba important agutte. Peasants uprising, tribal revolts, all these we have. Okay, so you should be knowing about it. If it is possible for you, can you mention some of the tribal peasant uprisings, anything that comes to your mind as of now, apart from Santal rebellion? Idu bittu ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು ರೆಬಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅಪ್ರೈಸಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದಾರೆ? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್? Okay, Halagali Bedas. Okay, Munda rebellion. Yes, if possible, also mention the tribal leader's name, if possible. Munda. Oh, okay, then. That's all. Can I get some names here? Rampa rebellion. No names. Chuar rebellion, Ahom revolt. Okay, that will be your task today. What you have to do is, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಈಗ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಓಕೆ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎನಿವೇ. ಬಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಯಾವ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದ ಲೀಡರ್. ಲೈಕ್ ಮೇಕ್ 3 ಕಾಲಮ್ಸ್: ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್, ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪೆಸೆಂಟ್ ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್, ದ ಲೀಡರ್. Okay, Sitaramraju, or what is that? We had this Rampa rebellion, right? Rampa rebellion. So name of the tribal revolt, then the Alluri Sitaram. Then we have the leaders who led this revolt and where it took place and the reason. One the column tara, one the tribal tara madkondo, you keep it as your basic study material. Andre basics tumba iruttalo, adhe reeti ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ, ಯಾಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಹೂ, ಯಾರು ಲೀಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ರಿವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ. So one of the revolts what we spoke about today is Santal rebellion. Hope you got the idea here. So ಮುಂಚೆನೂ ಕೇಳಿದರೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. The reason why it happened, where it happened in Jharkhand especially, and what is the impact, the land tenancy or the Pargana Tenancy Act of 1876. So these are the impacts. I have made it very brief. Okay, there is much more to know for you. You have to go through it. Clear with this? So we move on to art and culture. This is actually a kind of a political controversy that has happened recently. We know that. But I have taken this because as part of culture, art and culture, and also the topic of Buddhism. Buddhism ge sambandhapattidrinda ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. So anywhere you come across the topic of Buddhism, you cannot take chance. ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ರಿಮೋಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಂ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈ ವರ್ಷನೂ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಂ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಂ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ default area wherein they are definitely going to ask you anything and everything. One the package tarad, maybe starting from Buddha's basic facts, his teachings, his ideology, or maybe the architecture, art, and the stupas, and the councils, right? The kings who are associated with Buddhism, anything and everything. So over a period of time, you have to keep adding more facts. Idu hege namagu gottagute, how easy for us to actually study through, how smartly we can do is, you should go through the previous year questions asked on Buddhism. First thing, okay, simple thing. It's like a smart work, strategic strategy ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ past few years ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಂ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ರಿವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಯು. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್? ಓಕೆ, ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ನೌ. ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಅಭಯ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಬಂತು ಬುದ್ಧದು ಅಂತ. So it was invoked by Rahul Gandhi in Parliament. Most of you might have watched that video and heard about the news wherein we have seen in news wherein in his inaugural speech as LOP, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi referenced Abhaya Mudra, a gesture of a raised open palm symbolizing reassurance and freedom from fear. So actually the entire speech was regarding being in a particular religion. One should not instill fear among people, rather than it is more beyond that. The very religion should preach love, and it should not, and love and non-violence rather than violence. All these were some controversial remarks were made, and there were like many opinion shared across and all that. This happened. So let us leave it aside. Let it be there. The speech is over. But what is this Abhaya Mudra and whom it is connected to? What are the other mudras? And all ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. Obviously a political issue it is. Let us leave it aside. We will speak on Buddhism now. ಈ ಅಭಯ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು? So what are the other mudras like that? We will see. Okay, so Abhaya Mudra is a hand gesture commonly seen in Buddhist and Hindu iconography, symbolizing the gesture of fearlessness. It is not only associated with Buddha, but ನಾವು ಅಭಯ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, ಮುದ್ರಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗನೆ, it is not only about the religion aspect. We have it in dance also, art forms also, especially Bharatanatyam. We have classical dance forms. Abhaya Mudra shows fearlessness, or showing a kind of invoking a deity, or a kind of a spiritual aspect in the art form. So it is a common thing. Even when we say, usually someone say don't worry, we use the hand like this, right? Abhaya Mudra, fearlessness. It is there in Hindu gods, it is there in Jain, it is there in Christianity. So all have this similar gesture that is very evident. So typically performed with the palm of the right hand facing outward at shoulder height and the fingers pointing upwards. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಭಯ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಲುಕ್ ಇಂಟು ಅದರ್ ಮುದ್ರಾಸ್. ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಮುದ್ರಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ UPSC. ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಮುದ್ರಾ, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇನ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಇನ್ 2012, yet it is one of the important area. ಏನು ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? You will see that some mudras have put up here. Okay, so we can quickly go through that. ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು, ವಿವರಿಸಿ. ಟಚಿಂಗ್ ದ ಅರ್ತ್ ಆಸ್ ಗೌತಮ ಡಿಡ್ ಟು ಇನ್ವೋಕ್ ದ ಅರ್ತ್ ಆಸ್ ವಿಟ್ನೆಸ್ ಟು ದಿ ಟ್ರೂತ್ ಟು ಹಿಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ when the person is sitting in a meditative posture, the hand will be focusing towards the earth. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ವರದಾ ಮುದ್ರಾ, fulfillment of all wishes, gestures of charity. You can see the hand placed, how it is placed like that. Okay. Then dhyana mudra, usually how they used in a meditative posture, like Buddha usually seen like that, and people who sit for for meditation, they have dhyana mudra. The gesture of absolute balance of meditation. The hands are relaxed in the lap and tips of the thumbs and fingers touch each other when depicted with a begging bowl. That is a sign of the heed of an order. So ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಮುದ್ರಾ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಜೆಸ್ಚರ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ. ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಅಂದಾಗ ಟ್ರುತ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ವರದ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಅಂದಾಗ ಚಾರಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಕೊಡುವಂತದ್ದು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಚಾರಿಟಿ, ದಾನ. ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಬೆಗ್ಗಿಂಗ್. Okay, humbleness. Abhaya mudra, we just saw that it is kind of offering blessing. Then dharma chakra mudra, the gesture of teaching. Idu ee vajrayana buddhism alli jaasti ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. Buddhism sects ಇದೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? Various sects of Buddhism. We have Vajrayana, Theravada Buddhism, right? So ಈ dharma chakra mudra, the gesture of teaching, usually interpreted as turning the wheel of law. Dharma chakra, wheel of law. So it is showing the sign of a wheel which turns. Then vitarka mudra, intellectual argument. Vitarka, tarka is argument. Vitarka mudra is like holding like this. Tarjani mudra, threat, warning. See, now usually nam day to day life ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ gestures ಅದೇ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಯಾರಿಗಾರು ವಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ we use this forefinger. ಧ್ಯಾನ, what's that? Tarjani mudra, like threat or warning, giving warning to an opponent. Then namaskara mudra, again greeting someone. Jnana mudra is about teaching. Karana mudra, you can see Karana mudra, with demons are expelled. Again, this is the very common symbol we show. Today's, it is like what we call as a gesture, a common gesture. We say rocking. So it's like actually showing the symbol of, it is like two horns, gesture with which demons are expelled. Okay. And Kshepana mudra, two hands together in the gesture of sprinkling in the nectar of immortality. So how we hold like this. Some speaker you might have seen, they hold like this and talk, right? Kshepana mudra. Then Uttara Bodhi mudra, two hands placed together above the head with the index finger together and the other fingers intertwined. The gesture of supreme enlightenment. Idanna navu tale mele, upon the head, we keep it like this, and this shows extreme stage of enlightenment. So one might ask, now idella ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಅಂತ. Almost most of the mudras are like what we use in our daily life. ಈಗ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ಅಭಯ, ಧ್ಯಾನ, right? Bhumi sparsha ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ ಭೂಮಿ and sparsha, touching. Most of them we know. Which you feel it is like, it is kind of unusual and it is new to you, learn about it. The mudra part is done for you, ಅಲ್ವಾ? Wherein mudra related ಇರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಮುಗ್ದೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Because it has been asked in exam, it becomes important for us. Okay. See, it is about Rahul Gandhi's speech, I know, but we are talking about Buddhism here. Hope you got the point. Now my question is, there are certain symbols related to Buddha. ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ symbols ಬುದ್ಧಾಗೆ ರಿಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅದು ಏನನ್ನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ what does it implore? Buddhism ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have few symbols that actually give us an idea about Buddha's entire life. Can you mention those? Yes, lotus, birth. Okay. See, those who are answering, it is good. Those who do not know, you can, I'm reading for you all because you might be hearing for the first time. So it will be helpful for you also. We have lotus for birth. So Buddha's birth, good. Buddha's birth represents lotus. And see, it is like birth, ada nantara, amele departure. He left his home, right? Then it is enlightenment. Then it is first sermon, then death. Ee riti napka itkol. Life stages of Buddha. Life stages of Buddha ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? First, birth. Next, abandoning, leaving the place. He left his home, right? ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಮನೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು? Enlightenment. Enlightenment ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ first sermon, his preaching. then it is what do you call as death. So ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದಕ್ಕೂ ವರ್ಡ್ ಇದೆ. Yes, good. So birth we say lotus, birth. Then for what do you call as the great departure, we call it as great departures. And what is the symbol for that? Renunciation ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Horse, lotus, horse. Yes, lotus and horse. Horse means leaving the house. ಆ ತರ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, horse. Okay, so Mahabhi-nishkramana ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Mahabhi-nishkramana. Nishkramana is leaving. Then enlightenment is nirvana. Attaining nirvana is enlightenment, which the symbol is Bodhi tree. Lotus, horse, Bodhi tree, enlightenment. And the first sermon is Dharma Chakra. The wheel of Dharma, what we saw. Okay, first sermon, Elkoti, the first sermon. Where was the Buddha's first sermon given? Saranath, yes. Then death, Mahaparinirvana or Nibbana antanu ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Mahaparinirvana. Nirvana, Mahaparinirvana. Nirvana is enlightenment. Mahaparinirvana is death. Okay, I repeat, lotus, horse, at least ಈ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Birth is lotus, leaving the house, renunciation is horse, then enlightenment is Bodhi tree, under the Bodhi tree, then nirvana, enlightenment is nirvana. Then we have first sermon, that is wheel of Dharma or Dharma Chakra, that is wheel. Then we have Mahaparinirvana, which is the death itself, stupa, I guess, right? Stupa. So these are the gestures. Yes, stupa. Good. So idu Buddhism do symbols. Matte bere eno teachings of Buddha. Teachings of Buddha athwa what do you call the three jewels, what we call, adu ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ places associated in Buddha's life, ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಜಾಗ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತದ್ದು. ಮೇಬಿ ಸಾರನಾಥ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವೈಶಾಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬೋಧ್ ಗಯಾ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ರೈಟ್? ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಕುಶಿನಗರ್ ಇಸ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೆತ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್, ಕುಶಿನಗರ್. ಸೊ ಬರ್ತ್ ಇಂದ ಡೆತ್ ತನಕ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶೋರ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ in detail in class regarding Buddhism. This is, I'm just giving you a clue wherein yavattu Buddhism na very important topic. Keliದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಈ ರೀತಿ. Most of you have answered. I'm happy about it. So let the news be anything. Buddhism ಬಗ್ಗೆ related ಓದಿರಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Okay. Yes. So we move on to economics topic. Windfall tax was recently seen in news. We have discussed regarding windfall tax even in our previous sessions long back, but this is regarding knowing the terminologies related to Indian economy or the government's measures to what do you call as balance the economy or see the flow of the supply and demand, and also the hiking of the price and all that. Okay, ಈ windfall tax ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Windfall ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ a sudden surge, a sudden change in the profits. The word what we call as windfall. And the windfall and the sudden change. Okay, sudden surge of something or financial aspect ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗಿದೆ, ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ, recently the Indian government raised the windfall tax on domestically produced crude oil from rupees 3,250 per ton to 6,000 per ton. So ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು commodity ಮೇಲೆ we know that we have this tax, right? ಯಾವಾಗ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಂಡ್ಫಾಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹಾಕುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಏರಿಯಾ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್, ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ a huge profit in a very short time, and this would affect the other industrial sectors ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕುವಂದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ವಿಂಡ್ಫಾಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅಬ್ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಸಡನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್. The price rise at the global level will affect at the national level also, and this will make certain companies, certain industries to make huge profit. Profit ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಹಳೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ರೆಜಿಮೆ, ಹಳೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ನ ಹಾಕಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. So that is when the government intervene and adds a tax called as, it is a progressive tax reform ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Windfall tax is a progressive tax reform because when any company, any sector, industrial sector makes an extraordinary profit, more equitable ಅಥವಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬೇರೆ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇದೊಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಟಜಿಕ್ ಮೆಷರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it can balance, it can what do you call as maintain an equity in the market, and which leads to responsible economic practices anta. Okay, the concept is windfall tax. News is very simple, increase agide anta. Yaake increase agide? Crude oil do rate ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. We can say the tax increase with increasing income alla profit. Profit is the word. Okay, so windfall tax targets companies or individuals nu target ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Individual, not only the companies who have suddenly and significantly profited, often due to external factors beyond their influence. It is not that they did some fraud or something, or beyond their capabilities, external factors in the profit type. Adukoskara ee tax na haktare. Remember, it is a progressive tax reform. That is what you have to keep in mind. Progressive, regressive, progressive. Regressive means is actually hurting, affecting the economy. Progressive is which actually bringing more progress or benefits to the other industries, and overall there is a benefit to the government as well as the other companies, other sectors. Okay, we'll see the key points here. So ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದು ವಿಂಡ್ಫಾಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ? Oil, gas and mining usually. So windfall tax is not very new to India, or India has emerged out, brought this up. Windfall tax we see in America, Canada, Australia, depending upon their nature of business. They have all started, or they had it in the earlier past. We have seen this in mining when it comes to Australia, oil when it comes to USA or Canada. So they have this windfall tax on certain industries. Same we are also following in India. Okay, so what is the goal here? The goal is to take some of the unexpectedly high profits companies make and use for its public benefit. So ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಡನ್ ಆಗಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ದುಡ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಗೆ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ there is an economic equity in the society. Okay, then this tax promotes fairness, transparency, yes, welfare, basically responsible economic practices in the energy sector, especially these three. Remember, oil, gas and mining. The recent increase will likely reduce the profits of oil companies operating in India. So usually now news ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಮೇಲೆನೆ ನಾವು ವಿಂಡ್ಫಾಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ from the past few years. So we are keeping that in mind. India began implementing these taxes on July 1st, 2022. And it is a latest strategy, government strategy that happened in 2022. Okay, tax rates are reviewed every 2 weeks based on recent international crude oil prices. So tax rate change ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, it is not fixed. It is subjected to changes and fluctuations, and on basis of what? At the global prices ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So industries have to pay the tax. ಇದರಿಂದ benefit ಏನು? What are the benefits of windfall tax? Okay, first is increased government revenue. Government ಗೆ revenue ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Encouraging companies to invest in long-term growth. So when it is happening, the companies make sure that, okay, it is not that always we focus on sudden increase ಆದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ we are at loss. So it should stabilize the companies or the concerns firms overall growth. So ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಬಂದ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, so they basically prepare for it, wherein they constantly grow with that. Okay, with that mindset only. Then reducing income inequality, ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏರುಪೇರು ಆದಾಗ, ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಬೇರೆ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಟ್ರಬಲ್ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇನ್ಇಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿನ ತಡೆಗಟ್ಟುತ್ತೆ. Promoting sustainable development. So the company which makes more profit, they might invest huge on other things, and because they have money, and this would actually hamper the sustainable development. So to bring a balance on that also, it is possible. So that is why we call it as a progressive tax regime, windfall taxes. And windfall, the meaning of windfall is sudden surge in the financial aspects or prospects. Okay, this is what we have. Then one more thing under economy itself, that's same topic, Project Nexus anta news alli. Okay, this is regarding the digital India antanu helbodu, ಅಥವಾ digital economy, ಅಥವಾ financial inclusiveness that has happened in India. So it is not the project of RBI. Okay, it is an international or the global, international, we can say, international multinational project wherein recently RBI has signed up. RBI no join agide. Nexus andre, the word nexus means connection, connectivity. Okay, we will see what is it. So see, we have this digital payment system today in most of the major countries follow this, and India we have this unified payments interface, UPI ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಅವ್ರದೇ ಆದ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ financial mechanism ಇದೆ. So we are bringing all this financial mechanism together and we are connecting with some countries and we call it as Project Nexus. For this to be happening or to be possible, the very central bank of the country has to join in, has to pitch in. ಈಗ ನಮ್ದು central bank RBI, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, all these countries have pitched in together to have a nexus. ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ nexus? ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. So the Reserve Bank of India has joined Project Nexus, a global initiative that aims to facilitate instant cross-border retail payments by linking domestic fast payment system. So ಈಗ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, so we buy something, we immediately transfer money and the person has received it. So instant payments, instant retail payments, what is happening? So we use all these apps today, maybe GPay or PhonePay or Beam and all that. This has enabled for transferring the money immediately or instantly. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅದು ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಫ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಗೋ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಆರ್ some countries, not all the countries as of now are brought under this. Some countries, when they end up in India, they can use their apps in India. So that is like a global connectivity alva, ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಜೊತೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ವರ್ಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, so India's unified payment interface and fast payment systems, ಅದು ಕಾಮನ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. FPP ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಸ್ a common word. In Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore and Thailand will be interconnected via nexus. Looking forward, the platform may expand to include additional countries also. So idu ishtu news alli ide. We will see the key points. Idrud bagge key points nodona ಏನಂತ. So ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ we have Philippines Central Bank, then we have BIS. We will see what BIS actually is managing this project. Then we have Central Bank of Malaysia, Bank of Thailand, Monetary Authority of Singapore, which is a central bank there, and we have Reserve Bank of India. Ishtu countries seri, India, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines. These countries are joining together to have this project or take this project. So its goal is to improve cross-border payments by linking various global domestic instant payment system. Hope you are getting the point, right? So domestically iruvantaddana global maduvantaddu. So if Malaysian use has an FPS, that person, that citizen can use same in India, as India will be adopting in the future days. ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯದಲ್ಲೇ maybe we have seen in news in past or few months back, unveiling of UPI in Times Square, I guess that was there. And today two countries, especially Sri Lanka and Mauritius, their UPI is enabled. We can use India's UPI or this FPS in Mauritius and Sri Lanka, where they have adopted it, and we have a what do you call as nexus over there. We have a facilitation over there, right? We have a coordination, collaboration, wherein the same apps can be used in Sri Lanka and Mauritius. So ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದು 2-3 countries ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ countries ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಇದು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಸಸ್. So founding members and initial participants include Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and India. Maybe ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಸಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. Okay, keep this in mind. So these countries' faster payment system will be interconnected through Project Nexus. An agreement for participation by the BIS and the central banks of the founding nations in Basel, Switzerland. Indonesia is set to join the platform at a later stage, expanding its reach within the ASEAN region. So Indonesia would join later, and the central banks of the founding nations will be having an agreement participation in Switzerland. So this is in future that is going to happen. The takeaway from this entire news is you should be knowing what is Project Nexus. It is regarding digital payment, which we usually call as faster payment system, and the countries which are involved in here. And the news, as of now, the news is RBI has recently joined this Project Nexus. Okay. In Munde update bandaga, we will look into it. ಏನೆಲ್ಲ updates ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then one more thing I told you, Mauritius and Sri Lanka have enabled UPI recently. These are the two countries we have as of now. Okay. It is not in a Project Nexus. It is a different thing altogether. Yes. So this is about Project Nexus. We'll take a break for 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Then we'll come back. We'll continue with the topics. Okay. Okay, we shall continue. Just to add here, I just read, I'm just presuming you got to know what is BIS here. Bank of International Settlements. Other banks are all central banks. BIS, ಯಾವ country bank alla. It is related to, or it is a financial institution wherein the members of BIS, that is, here we have this point, you see. An agreement for participation was signed by the BIS and central banks of founding nations in Basel, Switzerland. Andre, sorry, not Basel, Basel anta kariತೀವಿ. Basel is the headquarters of BIS, Bank of International Settlement. International settlements, it is a financial institution wherein the member nations are nothing or none but the central banks of various countries. Like India's central bank is RBI. Likewise, Singapore, Thailand, at least 60 odd countries are part of this BIS. Idodu BIS to one innovative approach. Basel Treaty is also the same thing. Yes, under this. So just to add to that point, as we are focusing more on the project nexus, I did not mention about this. I just thought of telling you. Okay. Yes. Moving on, we will take up a science and tech topic. Spiral galaxies was recently in news. Galaxies. Galaxies and galaxy and one galaxy that comes to our mind is Milky Way galaxy. So news ಏನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ, ನಂತರ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಪೆರಿಫರಲ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. So universe had spiral galaxies 4 billion years sooner than expected. A team was found evidence of spiral galaxies only 500 million years after the Big Bang, mucking up what we know about their formation. So what we know is how the universe origin, or the origin of the universe, or maybe the very concept of Big Bang theory and the healthy way, how the galaxies were formed and the planets and the stars and everything. So now it is like contradicting as what we know already. So that is what the news all about. Let's go through the basic points, then I'll see the other key points. Okay. So a recent study has revealed in higher prevalence of spiral galaxies in the early universe than previously expected by astronomers. The universe, aged approximately 13.8 billion years, our universe, hosts diverse galaxy types, spiral, elliptical, with or without bulges. So what you see here is spiral, like a spiral staircase and spiraling, right? So spiral galaxies, ಬೇರೆ galaxies ಇದೆ ನಮ್ದು. When we speak of Milky Way, Andromeda, or various other galaxies, all the galaxies, what is a galaxy? What is a galaxy? Anyone? Yes. Group of constellations. A group of stars makes a constellation. Group of constellations make up a galaxy, right? So ಈ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಒಂದು ಶೇಪ್ಸ್, ಆ ಶೇಪ್ಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಗೆ ಹೆಸರುಗಳು ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಎಲಿಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇತ್ತು ಮುಂಚೆ, ಅಥವಾ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಅಂತ ಇವಾಗ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅರ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಅಸ್ಟ್ರೋನಮರ್ಸ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 6 billion years ago. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸ್ ಆಗ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 13.8 billion years ಆದ ನಂತರ, maybe in the half of the billion years, 6 billion years ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ವಿಷಯ. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ನೋ ಇಸ್, we again go back to our own galaxy, that is Milky Way galaxy ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, any central exams, central government exams or state level exams. But we need more information in the coming months regarding this to be asked in UPSC. But having an idea about the basic science is very, very important. Okay, this study, a recent study was done by University of Missouri astronomers challenging this belief, and they are challenging it. It is not later, like after 6 billion years or something. It was even before that, is what it is meant here. So we will see what are the current theories. So current theories suggest that galaxies evolved from, how did this galaxy were formed? The stars, so many millions of stars, evolved from hot, dense gas clumps into irregular shapes before forming flat spiral disks over billions of years. So where did they evolve from? Hot, dense gas. So however, a new study using data from James Webb Space Telescope indicates spiral galaxies may have formed earlier than thought. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ ಏನು ನಾವೇನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ 3 to 7 billion years ಬಿಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಇದೇನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏಜ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ದ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಏಜ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನ್ಯೂಸ್. Okay, the study says. The study analyzed 873 galaxies, identifying 216 as spiral, and found the proportion of spiral galaxies increased 8% to 48% during this period. So, 873 galaxies ali 216 are spiral. Spiral antandre ee shape barutte. Spiraling. So, aa shape bere. Elliptical bere. Elliptical is like this. We say elliptical orbit of the Earth. That is totally different. So, ಬೇರೆ galaxies na study ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳಿರುವಂತದ್ದು. Okay. So, these findings could revise our understanding of star formation rates. ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳು, right? Star formation rates and conditions necessary for forming Earth-like planets within spiral galaxies, given the significance of heavy elements from supernovae in spiral arms. ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? ಯಾಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಇದು ಈ ಫೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, so for all the planets, all the cosmic elements what we see in the universe entire thing, so ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದನ್ನು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಎವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಈಗ ನಾವು when we say sun is our star, sun is a star basically, right? So it is one of the stars. Imagine you might have learnt in your school level, one star 10 times the size of our sun ಅಂತ, right? So ನಮ್ದು ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್, ನಮ್ದು ಈಗ ನಾವು ನಮ್ದು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲೆಂಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಸೊ ನಮ್ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗಿರುವಂತ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ ಅದು ಮಿಲ್ಕಿ ವೇ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂತ ಈಗ ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲಿಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅರ್ತ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಪ್ಲಾನೆಟ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಆಗುವಂತ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಆಗುತ್ತಾ ಅಥವಾ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದಾ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. We know it is like very far-fetched dream. It is like it's not easy as we think, and I am telling you. But still, we as human beings, we are so intrigued to know about it, like how this formed, and still we are questioning our belief. And we say, some say evolution, and some say Big Bang theory, and there are other theories. And many people not even believe in Big Bang. They simply say we were created, creation, evolution. Many things are there. So it is all a continuous search, a seeking of this knowledge, what we are trying to do as human beings. Nothing much. So ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಹೋಗೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ನಮ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ ಏನು, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್, ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಿಲ್ಕಿ ವೇ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ವಾ? ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ, ವೈ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್. ಓಕೆ, so you can see the shapes here. Spiral, we will start from this. Barred spiral, irregular means no shape at all. It is like a clump of clouds are there. Okay, and spiral, you can see the shape of them. And we have a peculiar, elliptical, that is completely circular in shape, and lenticular. All these are the various galaxies, but I have taken only 3 here, which might be important to us, and some names are specifically given. Okay, so description, spiral galaxy, the description is the flattened disk with spiral arms, central bulge, can be barred or unbarred. So illi namdu spiral galaxy nodidaga, see this image, maybe in some memes, or maybe in some of the videos, when we actually connect ourselves to nature, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ದ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಾಕ್ಸಿ ಟು ದ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಈಟಿಂಗ್, ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ಲವರ್, ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಬಡ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಶೇಪ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಇದೇ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಎಸ್, ಸೊ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿಕಲಿ, ಮೆಟಫಾರಿಕಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್. ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಒನ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಒಂದ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಅಂತ. And we also, you might have heard, and I keep telling in class also, we are made up of stardust. The very famous quote phrase by Carl Sagan, an astrophysicist, wherein we are made up of stardust. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಕಾರ್ಬನ್, ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್, ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್, ಫಾಸ್ಫರಸ್, ಸಲ್ಫರ್, same thing. So we have this oneness or connectivity from one source. That is how Big Bang theory also starts. How do you study Big Bang theory? What is the very first line? There was infinite amount of matter, there came energy, or there was infinite amount of energy wherein matter came. So matter and it's all about energy and matter. So one the connectivity, one the point in that we can understand the entire universe ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ನಾವು ಈ ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸೀಸ್ ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್, ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಬೇಡ. ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಏನಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸ್ಪೈರಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಏನು? ಮಿಲ್ಕಿ ವೇ ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ, ಆಂಡ್ರೋಮೆಡಾ ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ನೇಮ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹರ್ಡ್. These are the example of spiral shaped galaxy. Elliptical galaxy ge a smooth oval or round shape, little gas and dust, mostly old stars. Old stars means there is birth and death of the stars. Stars take birth and they die. Stars take birth in stellar nurseries called as nebulae. Kelirtirava nebula, nebulae. You heard of this word term? Nebulae or nebula is nursery. Nursery for the stars is where the stars are born, or maybe the origin of the stars. Then they go through various stages. Giant star, red star, then supernova, nova, supernova, black hole, all this end of it. So ಈ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯ ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಎಲಿಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಮೆಸ್ಸಿಯರ್ 87 ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, lenticular galaxy, intermediate between spiral and elliptical, have a disk but no arms. So lenticular is the combination of spiral and elliptical. One example is sombrero galaxy. Okay, that is the reason I have not given I have not put up all the names of the galaxies. It's of no use. They're not asked. But these are popular one because these two, one is regarding the old stars and this one is more we are interested in because this is a part of our world, Milky Way and Andromeda, and lenticular galaxies because it is a combination of these two. Adukoskara ashte. Okay, hope you got the point. So your takeaway, you should be knowing about or collect information more about these two, Milky Way and Andromeda. Okay, moving on. Science and we'll consider it as science and tech. Maybe you can consider it as governance also. Last week ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ರೋಡ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, eco-friendly road. Can anyone remember that? What type of road we spoke about? What was the topic? Construction of roads eco-friendly using some material. Which was that? Today also it is regarding road only. ಈ topic ನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, road ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು. So which was that? What was the topic we discussed? Very good. Plastic roads ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಹೌದು, bio-bituminous. Yes, right. Using what do you call as biomass, waste in the biomass ಅಥವಾ organic waste ಇಂದ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ರೋಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ರೋಡ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. Today we have a topic called as steel slag road. Slag means waste of steel. Slag means in the steel manufacturing process, the slag, the remains, what we receive is slag. Using that waste, we are making road, which is even stronger. Steel roads means even better, even more durable, right? So news is regarding that. Recently, there was a conference held by CS and the CSIR International Conference. So CSIR organized the first international conference on steel slag road in New Delhi recently. Niti Aayog issued guidelines for the use of steel slag in road construction during the conference. Ishtu news. E CSIR ಅಂತ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ which Ministry of Science and Technology. ಸೊ ಇದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ ಸ್ಲಾಗ್ ರೋಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಗೈಡ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ವೆಲ್ತ್. Last time also we spoke about bio-bituminous road is nothing but using the waste and making use of it for in a better for the economic purpose. So steel slag projects are very important. It is like nothing but using the waste of the steel and wherein we can reduce environmental impact, reduce or maybe it is actually cost saving. Not only that, it improves the road performance also, durability of the road also. This is the overall idea of this steel slag road. Okay, So under the Ministry of Science and Tech. So some of the key points we can look into is steel slag means the metal waste from the steel production. Okay, slag antandre waste anta ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಸಿಗುವಂತ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ we build strong and more durable roads. The process involves purifying the slag by removing impurities. Steel manufacturing ಆದ ನಂತರ ಸಿಗುವಂತ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ನ ಸ್ಲಾಗ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಆ ಸ್ಲಾಗ್ ನನ್ನು ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ನ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, metal content, and then using it as aggregate for road construction. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಕೋಲ್ ಬಿಟುಮಿನಸ್ ಏನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದರ ಬದಲು ಸ್ಲಾಗ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. an alternative to the carbon, the coal part, because we know carbon ಅಥವಾ coal ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ bituminous especially we are aiming to reduce the carbon emission. That is why we are introducing all these alternatives. So slag, here it is. Processed steel slag offers high strength, hardness, abrasion resistance, skid resistance, drainage capacity, making it excellent for road building. Okay, so it is eco-friendly, cost effective and long lasting. Yaake the cost effective andre we are making roads out of waste. It is not required. So usually, I mean, basically it is cost effective and also long lasting. Using processed steel slag aggregates can partially meet India's annual demand of approximately 1.8 billion tons of natural aggregates for construction and maintenance projects. So we have an annual demand of 1.8 billion tons of natural aggregates. Aggregates, we are talking about construction ge coal use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, tar use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, maintenance ಗೆ various resources use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದರದ್ದು high demand ಇದೆ. ಅದರ ಬದಲು ನಾವು waste ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, slag ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. And India's, just for a fact, India's first steel slag road was constructed in Surat, and there are other upcoming projects in various places. ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಅರುಣಾಚಲಲ್ಲಿ, ಅರುಣಾಚಲ್ ಪ್ರದೇಶ್ border road organization has planned to construct a steel slag road ಅಥವಾ road made out of steel slag ಅಂತ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. The first such road made in India is in Surat. Then upcoming details, maybe in future when we get more updates on it, add to it. Hope you got the idea here. Point. As we see a lot of information about road construction, yellow one the basic question kelo sadhyategalide alva. So that is where we get the hint. Hope it is clear for you now. Now moving on, species in initial cost for machines. See, as we are collecting the slag here, ಈಗ ಏನು ನೀತಿ ಆಯೋಗ ಏನು ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ ಒಂದು 5-6 ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಸ್ಲಾಗ್ ನ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ. So obviously, I do not think so. Instead of spending a lot of money on buying the construction materials, spending on this is more feasible, is what government is thinking. So that is the reason this has been brought. And when they say it is cost effective, one thing is waste has been utilized and not much of the infrastructure machinery is needed. Only it is like removal. I thought of adding that entire mechanism picture. Tumba agbidutte nimge anta nanu add madilla. ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ನೆಲ್ಲ ತೆಗೆದು ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುವಂತ ಸ್ಲಾಗ್ ನ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಇನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ತಾರ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಆ ತರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮಚ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಿವ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಎಸ್. ದೆನ್ ಘಡಿಯಲ್ ಆರ್ ಘಡಿಯಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ, ವಿ ಸೇ ಘಡಿಯಲ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಘಡಿಯಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ Brahmaputra's lone female ghadial's long wait for a mate could end soon. So simple news, but this is a chance for us to know about this species, very important, which has been asked also in the previous years, past few years, and constantly in news. Okay, so ghadial is a crocodilian in India. We have 3 crocodilians. More crocodilian antandre ella crocodiles ge the family we name is crocodilian. So it's a reptile basically. So in India we have ghadial, we have saltwater crocodile, and we have marsh crocodile. Idu 3 species India dalli ide: ghadial, saltwater, marsh crocodiles. And throughout the world we have in North America, South America, Central Africa, Asia, Southeast Asia, we have crocodiles. These reptiles are there in rivers and lakes and marshy region. But why ghadial is very important and why it is so unique? Because this is the only unique species which is found only in India and Nepal or India subcontinent, nowhere else. But when it comes to crocodiles, saltwater crocodiles, alligators, caiman, they are common. They have kind of an abundance. But gharial is most critically endangered of all the crocodilians. So we give more importance to this. Yakadu critical endangered agide. What are the features? We will see later. We will finish the news first. News first. A solitary female gharial in Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve in Assam has ignited hopes for species resurgence in the Brahmaputra river system. So Brahmaputra is a freshwater river system, and the what do you call as the presence of gharial is basically in the tributaries of Ganga and Yamuna. Ganga and Yamuna are the primary habitat. Tributaries or rivers of tributaries of Ganga and Yamuna, like Chambal or Katarniya Ghat and Ram Ganga, all the tributaries of Ganga and Yamuna, where we find gharial in numbers, in quite good number. But being in Brahmaputra is an extreme east, so it is less likely to be found. But today we had one for all these years. So the the state government has decided to introduce a male gharial for repopulating the space. Okay, so for many years there was one lone female gharial in the Brahmaputra river. So they are introducing, and this comes under Kaziranga National Park. Last week allu Kaziranga news allittu. Nimge gnapaka idralva? Kaziranga was in news. Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve. We have spoken about it regarding the species. So Kaziranga, I told you about the big five and all that. Hope you remember. So again, this is the same place. So it is believed to have disappeared from the Brahmaputra river system in the 1950s. With sporadic sightings reported in 1990s. So Brahmaputra total agi disappear ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಬರೀ ಗಂಗಾ ಯಮುನಾ river system ಮಾತ್ರ ಐತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ just hoping for we can repopulate the place or the rivers. Okay, this is the idea. So some points regarding gharial. Gharial looks like this. Usually crocodiles will be having broader jaws. Crocodiles means we have an idea wherein they have a broader jaw. But this one crocodilian species here, it has a narrow snout. We call this as a snout. This is called a snout. The mouth part is called a snout. Okay, the snout is very narrow, and when we look into it, actually it is less harmful when compared to any other crocodile, because of its narrow jaw. It will not attack human beings, unlike other crocodiles. If at all we encounter one, because the jaws are not sharp here. It is made for, it is evolved, it is adapted only to catch fish. So that is why we call gharial as fish-eating crocodile. Fish-eating crocodile antanu kariತೀವಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. Freshwater crocodile antanu kariತೀವಿ. The only freshwater crocodile of India is gharial. Okay. So this is how it looks like. So according to WII, Wildlife Institute of India, gharials were historically widespread in Brahmaputra, Ganga, Indus, Mahanadi, Brahmani, Baitrani river system. So ella kade widespread agittu. Nanತರ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, because of fresh water ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ it is subjected to pollution, right? Pollution, habitat loss, lack of prey, ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರಿಂದ gharial population ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂತು. Then their range included before ಮುಂಚೆ India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal and Pakistan. ಈಗ ಬರೀ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮತ್ತು ನೇಪಾಲ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. We cannot see much of the gharials in all these countries. It is totally gone, disappeared. We only see in India and Nepal today. That is the condition. So currently major gharial populations are found in 3 Ganga tributaries: the Chambal River, the Girva rivers in India, especially Chambal. Chambal River is the primary habitat of gharial. River Chambal, which flows in especially Madhya Pradesh, and it in the tri-junction area of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and UP. Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and UP. ಈ tri-junction ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಚಂಬಾಲ್ ರಿವರ್ ಹರಿಯುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಘರಿಯಲ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, and we have this Chambal river sanctuary also, exclusively for gharials. So according to IUCN Red List, gharial is classified as critically endangered. IUCN list alli critically endangered. Obviously, Wildlife Protection Act alli first schedule. So the primary threats include construction projects across the rivers like dams and all that, water extraction, and water pollution. All these have made the numbers go low. There is plenty of aspects to know about gharial. I think we can discuss that in our basic class. Obviously, when we take a project crocodile and all that. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಘರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಅಥವಾ ಮುಂಚೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, we will see more details later. But as I also mentioned about the other crocodilians, we will see that also in a GIF. ಅದರದ್ದು IUCN ನೋಡೋಣ. ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂತದ್ದು I don't know whether did you receive the notes before PDF? Okay. So when you receive, you will be reading it, right? Last class ತನಕ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ಯಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ಯಾ? So salt water crocodile, mugger crocodile, gharial. Okay, ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಮೂರುದು IUCN ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಡೇಂಜರ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಘರಿಯಲ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲಿ ಎಂಡೇಂಜರ್ಡ್, mugger crocodile vulnerable, least concern saltwater crocodile. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ saltwater crocodile is able to adapt in various brackish saltwater regions. Saltwater ಅಂತಂದಾಗ salinity fluctuate ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು it can adapt. But gharials ಮತ್ತೆ mugger crocodile ಗೆ they need fresh water only. They are made for fresh water. So fresh water is more subjected to pollution. Again, they will be affected. At least for mugger crocodile, it is vulnerable because it is found in estuarine conditions certain times in marshy area, if not rivers. But gharials are made for rivers. So ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಥ್ರೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. Okay, literally it is given habitat threats ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. You can look into it when you receive. So we will know more about it in our basic classes. But the news is regarding reintroduction of a male or male gharial into Brahmaputra river system to improve the population of gharials. This is the news. Okay. Then next is regarding okay. There is a question. I'll just read out for everybody. Maybe it is for everyone. He has written for everyone. Okay. Varieties of fish documented in the People's Biodiversity Register of the Talakara Grama Panchayat. What is the meaning of People's Biodiversity Register? If I'm not wrong, either it should be under NGO or maybe it can be under Biodiversity Act ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇರಬಹುದು. Right now I'm not sure about it. But ಈ ತರ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ when people are coexisting with the biodiversity, people are coexisting with flora, fauna, or fish or whatever it is. So it is a register where human beings are coexisting with the wildlife and they enlist certain, very good question because we are at the same almost similar topic only here now. ಈ ತರ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎನ್ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ not from research, some scientists and all, someone like that. It will be from the localites. They will find out. ಅವ್ರ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಎನ್ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Basically, the idea here is listing out the newly discovered species. People's Biodiversity Register ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ there is the coordination and cooperation of the people here. That's the reason. Unlike institutes, research organizations. Clear? Yes. So similar to your question, there is one news here. India adds 641 new animal species, 339 new plant taxa in 2023. So last 1 year, 2023 entire year alli India dalli ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೊಸ ಫ್ಲೋರಾ ಫಾನಾ ಆಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೋನಾಮಿಕಲ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್. ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾ ಇಸ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಬ್ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಆ ಲಿಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟನ್ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ we just saw previous sentence ಅಲ್ಲಿ Wildlife Institute of India. I've been repeating this. Wildlife Institute of India is an autonomous body under MOEFCC. Okay, WII. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ we have two other organizations, that is Zoological Survey of India and Botanical Survey of India. Zoological Survey, Botanical Survey of India both come under MOEFCC only, where ZSI or ZSI focuses on wildlife, BSI focuses on plants. Okay, now we are not talking about this, we are talking about these two. News ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಎರಡು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಇದೆರಡು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 1 year ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೊಸ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಒಂದು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಬುಕ್ ನ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸಿ ದಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ದು ಟೇಕ್ ಅವೇ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕಲಿ ಎನಿ ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಆಡೆಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್ ವೇರ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸಿ ದಟ್. ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ವರಿಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ 644 ನ್ಯೂ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ 339 ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಮುಂದೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಇಟ್. ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೀನ್ 641 or 339 something. What is given in the news we will look into it. Then other facts. Okay, let's read it. So in 2023 India made substantial strides in biodiversity knowledge by adding numerous animal and plant species to its faunal and floral databases. Okay, so these discoveries were documented in 2 publications called as Animal Discoveries 2023 by ZSI, Plant Discoveries 2023 by BSI. Recent ಆಗಿ hope you got the idea. This is the news. Okay, highlights ನೋಡೋಣ. ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರಿದು ಕೀ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಎಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಯಾವ್ದು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಕೇರಳ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ದಿ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆನಿಮಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರೀಸ್ ಸೋ ಫಾರ್. ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ 74 ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈಯಿಂಗ್ 27 ನ್ಯೂ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇ ಬಿ ರೀಡಿಸ್ಕವರಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಆ ತರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇರಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾರ್ ದ ವೆರಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್. Okay, 74 new species have been added to the list. And West Bengal followed with 72 and Tamil Nadu 64. So in order, Kerala, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu. These 3 states have the highest number of animal discovery. Animal, I'm not talking about plants here, only animals. The recent past. Kerala, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu. Invertebrates accounted for majority of new discoveries totaling 564 species. What are invertebrates? The organisms which do not have vertebral column. Okay, adralli insects barutte. Correct, insects barutte, especially insects. So vertebrates contributed 77. Sorry, I'm sorry, not insects barutte. Invertebrates ki example enu? I'm very sorry, reptiles. Vertebrates contributed 77 new species. Insects were the most numerous among invertebrates. Okay, invertebrates correct only. Comprising 369 species. My bad, which is confused. Then fish dominated among vertebrates with 47 new species discovered. Illi namge numbers beda. Okay, ಎಷ್ಟು ಯಾವುದು ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬಂತು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಇದೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಕೇರಳ, ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್, ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಒಂದು, ಮತ್ತು I was just confused here. Insects among invertebrates, fish among vertebrates dominate ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಮತ್ತೆ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ದಿ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರೀಸ್, ದೆನ್ ಕೇರಳ ಅಂಡ್ ಉತ್ತರಾಖಂಡ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇರಳ, ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್, ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಇನ್ ಆನಿಮಲ್ಸ್. ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್, ಕೇರಳ, ಉತ್ತರಾಖಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇರಳ, ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್ ಅಂತ. Why should we learn and what is our perspective and what is our orientation when it comes to exam in this particular thing? So India is called as a mega diverse country. Anta ನಾವು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ biodiversity. India is a mega diverse nation. Among the 17 countries of the world, India is one among them, where it contributes 77 to 8% of the global biodiversity. Global biodiversity, 7 to 8% of the global biodiversity is contributed by India, or India's biological richness it is. That is why whenever we have something in news regarding biodiversity, we give more importance regarding the discoveries. That is why they ask questions on it. Okay. Speaking of which, some of the highlights, key highlights, significant updates. Idu namge news alli kottiruvanthadu, adakoskara nanu ee 4 ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. Okay. Capra himalayensis ಅಥವಾ Himalayan ibex. Okay. For plants, they can ask about scientific names. They will ask scientific names, but for animals, even if they ask, they will be given in the brackets. Plants to scientific names idre adashtu ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಡಿ. ಆನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. They will be giving in the brackets. Okay, first is Himalayan ibex. Ibex is a mountain goat. Okay, it's called as Himalayan ibex. So confirming the distinction of the Himalayan ibex found in the trans-Himalayan ranges of Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh from the Siberian ibex. ಈಗ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ Siberian ibex is a popular ibex, mountain goat in the what do you call as Asian region, Central Asia, Siberia, Russia, and all that. But there was a confusion between, do we have an ibex in India also? Is it the same Siberian ibex or we have a different subspecies altogether? But recent discovery ಏನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ Himalayan ibex ಬೇರೆ, Siberian ibex ಬೇರೆ. Himalayan ibex ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh. Remember the places. Okay, it's a mountain goat. Innondu Miniopterus srini, a newly discovered species of bent winged bat, was identified in the Kodagu district of Karnataka. So bent winged bat is one of the species. Usually the bats were in here the image is not clear. That is what I got from the newspaper. Bent winged bat antandre, the name itself suggests the wing is been bent, not like the open wings of the other bats. Adu ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ discover ಆಯ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ. So other common name is bent winged bat or else Miniopterus srini ಅಂತ. Just to know the highlight. ಇದೊಂದು fawn mammal, especially bats ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ recent ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ 2024 prelims ಅಲ್ಲಿ bats ಬಗ್ಗೆ question ಇತ್ತು. Flying fox ಅಂತ ಒಂದು question ಇತ್ತು, ಹೌದಾ? Indian flying fox is a vermin ಅಂತ question is. So bats are important. Bats are, some are fruit bats. This Indian flying fox is a fruit bat. Some are carnivores, some are omnivores. Among the bats only there are different subspecies. So still we keep this in mind. We consider it as relevant. Okay. Then Curcuma cacchingis. Curcuma cacchingis, you know, like this is a newly identified species of turmeric. A turmeric plant. Cacchingis is a district in Manipur. It is named after that. And curcuma or curcumin anta enanta kariತೀವಿ, turmeric related adu. So adu Manipur alli ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ newly discovered plant, ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ turmeric species. So adu. Next to Assistacia venuvi, a flowering plant of West Bengal, was discovered in botanical garden in Howrah in West Bengal. Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanical Garden alli discover ಆಗಿದ್ದಂತ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ plant ಇದು, totally different species, Astitia venuvi ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. So ಇದು ನಾಲ್ಕನ್ನ ಈ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So that's the reason I've taken this. So some idea about this. Instead of asking the species, they might simply ask about the biological richness of India also. There is a chance. Okay, so we will be having more updates in the future also. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೊಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. Himalayan ibex, bent wing bat ಅಥವಾ bats ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ curcuma or this flowering, we call these two as angiosperms ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, flowering plants ಅಂತ. Okay, ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಬಯಾಲಜಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಒಂದು ಲೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಂದು 6th ಅಥವಾ 8th ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಬಯಾಲಜಿ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಓದಿ. ಸೊ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಟರ್ಮಿನಾಲಜಿ ಸಮ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, vertebrates, invertebrates, cold blooded, warm blooded, this is important. You should be knowing. Mammals, what are mammals? Okay, all these are. Now bat is a mammal anta karadak. Why do we call, what is the definition of mammal? When do we call an organism as mammal? A mammal is an animal which has vertebral column, wherein it has thick fur or hair on the skin, and also have mammary glands ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ mammal ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದಕ್ಕೂ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. Okay, what are vertebrates, invertebrates? I just told you. Then we can consider this under miscellaneous. International Asteroid Day anta recent age we observed it, and it is on June 30th. There is a reason to celebrate this particular International Asteroid Day because there was an event that took place in 1908, Tungsuka event anta. It is in Russia. It took place in Russia. Event means we are talking about an asteroid hit Earth. Okay, and that caused a huge destruction. What we consider it as a natural disaster ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಆ ಈವೆಂಟ್ ನ ಕಮಾಮರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಆಸ್ಟೆರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಡೇ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಟು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಡೇಂಜರ್ಸ್ ಪೋಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಆಸ್ಟೆರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಆಸ್ಟೆರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆಸ್ಟೆರಾಯ್ಡ್ಸ್? ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್. And where do we have this asteroid belt? Can anyone tell me? Asteroid belt is between Mars and Jupiter. Asteroids. So these are the moving objects. It can be size of 1 meter or thousands of square kilometers ಅಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿನೂ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಸೊ ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಪೆಬಲ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸೈಜು ಇರಬಹುದು. So many asteroids passes through or near Earth. Near Earth pass ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು near Earth asteroids ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Some asteroids have hit Earth. One such is on June 30th, 1908. Some meteorites hit. So for you, a small assignment I'll give you while we are talking about this. The difference between asteroids, comets, meteors, meteorites, and meteoroid. Okay, either the meaning tilkondir. We might get more news on asteroids in the future also. I might ask you later. Okay, this is for your basic understanding. What is the difference between asteroids, comets, meteors, meteoroids? One the keyword na update madre nimge easy agutte. Today we are discussing about this. Okay, all are different from each other and they'll be having one common element. What is that? You have to look into it. So International Asteroid Day was established by United Nations in 2016 to advocate for worldwide initiatives in planetary defense. So asteroid strike adre, there is a huge disaster, but we can predict them because of their movement. Adu one helpful thing. Okay, according to NASA, the impact of near Earth objects with Earth is the sole natural catastrophe that humanity could entirely prevent. So NEO, and the near Earth object anta yen karitive, when they are actually hurling towards Earth or moving towards Earth, one can actually predict. Because of our technology today, we are able to identify, okay, some asteroid is going to pass near the Earth, or it is might hit or may hit, or we might say that the trajectory has changed. All this can be prevented, and we can identify the place and at least vacate the people from there and try to reduce the disaster. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನನ್ನತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾಸಾ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ನಿಯರ್ ಅರ್ತ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ, ಈ ಕೆಟಾಸ್ಟ್ರಫಿನ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಡಿಸಾಸ್ಟರ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಹಿಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಅರ್ತ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕೀ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಈವೆಂಟ್, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೇನ್ ಇಮೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಕಾಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಈ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಇನ್ನು ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್, ಅಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಆಸ್ಟೆರಾಯ್ಡ್ ರಷ್ಯಾ ಸೈಬೇರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ತುಂಗುಸ್ಕಾ that ended up here, and several or maybe 830 square miles effect agittu. Alliruvanta ella 80 million trees were flattened, were destroyed completely. Today we have that spot. So to commemorate that event, UN has what do you call as marked this day as International Asteroid Day. Okay, yes, we will go through the points. The Tunguska event triggered the explosion of an asteroid in Siberia, flattened 80 million trees across an area spanning 830 square miles. Despite the remote location ಆಗಿದ್ರೂನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಸೈಬೇರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರು ಇರಲ್ಲ, but there were minimal human casualties and the shock wave was felt hundreds of miles away. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಂತ ಶಾಕ್ ವೇವ್ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರುವಂತ ಎಷ್ಟೋ 100 kilometers ಅಥವಾ ಮೈಲ್ಸ್ ಅವೇ ಇರುವಂತ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಯಾಶುಯಾಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆತ್ ಆಯ್ತು. Right, so this happened. Asteroids, also known as minor planets, are remnants from the early formation of our solar system around 4.6 billion years ago. Basic points about asteroid. Most asteroids have irregular shapes, although some approach near spherical forms. Exact shape one bande kaltara, one boulder tara irutte, but bigger, smaller in size. Some asteroids are orbited by small moons also. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು asteroid ಗೆ ಅದರದಾದ ಮೂನು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಅರ್ತ್ ಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ ಅದೇ ತರ. Okay, and few have two moons also. Binary asteroids consist of two similarly sized rocky bodies orbiting each other, while triple asteroid systems also exist. Binary asteroids ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದನ್ನ ಸರೌಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸುತ್ತಕೊಂಡು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Lonar Lake in Maharashtra. Yes, you got one good example. What you got was ಲೋನಾರ್ ಲೇಕ್ ಅಂತ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದು ನಾವು ಕ್ರೇಟರ್ ಲೇಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಇಸ್, ಈ ಕ್ರೇಟರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಲಿಟರಲಿ ಬಿಗರ್ ದನ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ಅ ಡೀಪ್ ಡಿಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು. ದಟ್ ಕ್ರೇಟರ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಲೋನಾರ್ ಲೇಕ್ that is Lonar in Maharashtra. I find out whether it is because of asteroid or meteorite or meteor. ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು? ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಡಿಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದಲ್ಲೂ ಇದೆ ಒಂದು, ನಾವು ಕ್ರೇಟರ್ ಲೇಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ಇಟ್? That is for you to look into. Good that you brought this example. Okay, Lonar Lake, the only crater lake of India. So these are the key points, okay, regarding asteroids. I thought of adding more basic information, but I'll just give it to you some task also, so that I want you to work on it. Yakandre neevu kaltaga enagutte antandre you are interested in knowing it, and also there is a learning for you along with these points. Okay, so I think this is what we have for today. Hope when you receive the notes, add more points to it, and remember, try to remember and revise more. Clear with this? I have told you in each of the topics, each of the news, where you have to connect with and learn. Keep that in mind. So if you have no questions, we can wind up for today. Okay. So thank you so much. We'll meet in the next class. Okay. Take care.